Hi everyone. Holy smokes. Guess who I'm sitting next to? The wonderful, fabulous, gorgeous Dita Von Teese. That your backstory was started at such a young age. You know, that being inspired, seeds can be planted any form.
Yeah, and I think I always feel like obsession is something that it becomes like authenticity, where, you know, like I feel like it's always been with me, of the things I've been obsessed with. Vintage movies, when I was little, my mom liked to watch them, and it had a big impact on me, and I was like, when I grow up, I'm going to wear red lipstick and little hats and fancy dresses too. So it was a big part of my childhood, and I never got over it.
So tell me, before we start looking at the lingerie, the thing that I'm really thrilled about is we've never done this before. Because Dita's lingerie is inspired somewhat by the past, even though she's put her own little twist in it, I asked her to bring some of the pieces so that we can look at where the past is and where the present is as well. So we're going to look at older pieces of lingerie as well as pieces that are from your collection.
I brought a few things in my suitcase here, things that I was inspired by, or I knew you'd have some things here that are things that I've been inspired by, whether it's in a photo or in real life. So
cool. I was hoping that some of the pieces that you see here might inspire you for future collections.
Yes, I've already spied a few things that excite me.
That's great.
So I brought a few things, like, one of my signatures of my lingerie collection.
What a color.
Yeah, this is brand new.
Beautiful.
This one's called Vedette. One thing that I've been doing in the collection since the beginning is velvet. Because, you know, when you look inside really nice lingerie like girdles, they use a lot of velvet finishing, and that became one of my signatures, is to always have like velvet straps. And then this is like a little waspy. And when I first started making the collection, I went into Bloomingdale's and in Target Australia, and you know, I was really like, oh, we have to have garter belts. And they're like, Bloomingdale's especially said, well, we don't sell garter belts. Sometimes we order it as like a vanity piece, like a sexy piece. And I said, no, but like mine really fit. So I've always loved to wear fully fashioned stockings, which you really have to have like a significant, strong garter belt. Like these little thin things that, you know, that are vanity pieces don't work. So I base all mine on vintage styles with 6 straps instead of 4.
And how long ago was it that you went into Bloomingdale's?
Probably about 11 years ago.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. 6 straps in almost all of my garter belts, except for when we decide, for design reasons, to try something with 4. But that's
more
support. I think the secret to keeping your seams straight and not fussing with your stockings. So this is one of my signature pieces, which I also do in, black. Here's a black one with illusion lace. So this is like a staple of the collection. You know, it's not like a super cincher, but it has a little bit of pull.
And are there stays in the...
Yes.
Yes. Oh,
there
wow.
Are stays and not too much stretch here. I'm always fighting about stretch versus non-stretch with my brand because I loathe stretch lace. And, they always want to put stretch in things because it fits more easily for people, but I like stability.
But you have the stretch in the back connection.
Yes, exactly. So there is a little bit there.
So I side with you.
Yeah, I think
design-wise.
Right.
Yeah.
Here's a vintage garter belt. Do you know, see the tag in there still? Famous designer. It starts with Jewel Park.
Of course, Beverly Hills.
Yes. I know. I was like, the tag seems not to be in here anymore.
The best lingerie.
Yeah, they made it for all the, Elizabeth Taylor, everyone, on screen, Marilyn Monroe, Liz Taylor. If they were going to be in a negligee, they wore Jewel Park. So I don't know if you remember, but a few years ago, much of the collection came up for sale. And the family was, so I went over there and bought some things. And this was one of the Jewel Park. I mean, this is teeny. I don't even know if this fits me. But this is only 4 straps, probably like 50s or 60s, don't you think? But I loved these rosettes.
Oh my gosh. It camouflages the top part of
they're just little
It's great.
So things like that I look at and try to put it in my collection whenever I can. So I love overwire bras. I know you have lots of these here that I've probably I probably bought this from you.
Actually, I pulled a few overwires because, you know, we are all accustomed to underwires, and they're not very comfortable.
Yeah, but I love that those strong design lines.
This is incredible.
Like, it's so great.
I mean, just the way you have that propped on you.
I'm obsessed. I have a big collection of overwire bras because I love it.
I prefer overwire to underwire because I think the overwire is more comfortable.
This is my version of an overwire that I tried to put in my line, but the wires are very complicated because you have to make, you know, you can't just buy the wires. Yeah.
Right.
So I had this sample made, and I'm still trying to push it through, and hopefully after I'm going to be able to convince them again that we need to do this, because this is like, I wear this all the time, like underneath sheer blouses, or even with a 50s skirt or a pencil skirt.
I love this because it's also smooth.
Yeah.
It has no texture, so when you wear it like on a, let's say, a solid silk color, it doesn't show bumps. So I think that's a great design.
And this is the first overwire bra I produced for my very first collection.
Wow. That's complicated.
And it's kind of like this is obviously informed by like 30s lingerie, and I was pretty proud of coming out with this for, I think it was like $65 or something when it came out. Or
Retail?
$75, yeah.
That's incredible for the amount of work.
Yeah, and it's become like a cult item, you know, where people are trying to find them still. So
how come they're not making them anymore?
You know, it's always everybody wants it after it's not available anymore. You know, you do it, it didn't sell well. You know, people are, you know, I don't know if we can sell that. The buyers don't take it. That's one of the frustrating things people don't realize about retail, you know, or lingerie or whatever. When you can make something beautiful, you can offer it in all the sizes you can think of, but if the buyers don't take it, it doesn't get made. Or they'll say, oh, we'll take that in, like, you know, the typical sizes, and I'm like, but wait, I've got 44 triple H, you know, and it's like, I can't control that.
But you know what's interesting is it may be time to review and revisit this, because the world is changing as far as...
That's what I say. And I also just launched my own retail site for my lingerie for the first time ever, so I'll be able to make like small runs of things that are just for sale on there.
That's so cool. I didn't know that.
If the retailers don't take it, I can see if I can make it and sell it there. So that's been really good. This is an example of a reproduction Mary Widow that I did. So this was part of one of my first collections too. Beautiful. And of course that's sort of, here's one of my holy grail pieces that I bought in France, 50s. Really great, very rare.
Wow.
And you know how it is. This is, look at this, got all the velvet inside. I get really excited.
Oh, and I love the blue behind it.
Isn't that gorgeous?
Yeah, gorgeous.
This is what I love.
Who's the maker? Oh my gosh.
I can't read without my glasses.
Corset Charmerain, Paris. Beautiful.
Really
I've never seen one like that.
And this is, what is this, like, what is that fabric? I can't remember.
It's actually a nylon.
Yeah, there's no...
It's a nylon crepe.
Yeah, it's very...
Beautiful.
This is one of my...
More of a chiffon, yeah.
If anyone finds any of those out there, I'm your buyer.
That's a 10.
Yeah, I love that. And then I wanted to do something that I could wear as a dress. So I produced this at one point. You know, kind of just something you could wear as outerwear if you were brave enough.
I love your details on all of your pieces.
I mean, this, I'm sure you recognize there's a bra that I copied from the 50s.
Beautiful.
Sure. But, you know...
No, you didn't copy, you were inspired.
Well, I was inspired, because it's definitely not like the original reference, but, you know, but... I took inspiration from, and I made it available to all. That's one of the things I think about too, is like, you know, sometimes like this hat, for instance, it's inspired by a hat that I have in my hat collection. That people are always like, where'd you get that hat? And the feathers are disintegrating and it's falling apart. Well, so I was like, why don't we remake that?
Yep, totally.
I'm not copying things that are readily available. I'm copying things that are relics of the past that are falling apart. And, you know.
And there's a market for it.
Yes, this is probably
great color.
My most popular, the longest. This bra we did with my first collection. It's called the Madame X. We did it with underwire in it too. We did two versions of it, but this is my favorite.
Beautiful.
And we've done this in every color under the sun. Sometimes I run out of colors and I go on my social media and say, what color can I do next? And just, whatever color people mention that I haven't done, I'm like, all right, let's do it.
What your work is so spectacular because you use, like, this looks like faggoting.
It's been worn a lot.
I can see there's a lot of attention to detail. So between this ribbed, almost trapunto bottom part of the bra and then the connector, which looks like hand faggoting, it's beautiful.
Thank you. And one of the things I love about this is the back is really low when you wear it. I don't know if you can see that, but it's like I wear this with my 50s dresses that kind of have a higher top and a low back because this bra line falls really low because of the way that the
super cool
are.
And is this one still available as far as production?
In black it is, yeah.
Oh, cool. I may go online and buy one.
And then, let's see, I brought this as another example, one of my newest kind of Merry Widow styles, which I think just shows like modernization, where we took kind of this illusion lace that picks up,
beautiful
those skin tones. So that's a brand new piece. And then for fun, I brought some stockings because I kind of love talking about fully fashioned stockings. Because sometimes people don't really know what the difference is when they buy seamed stockings. I'm sure you've seen some beautiful full fashion stockings.
I have.
I brought one of my favorite pairs, which probably it has a run in it.
And you have, this is part of your collection.
Well, this is actually a vintage pair, but this is my collection. So I brought them just to kind of show.
Wow.
That we have them made on the few remaining machines that exist in the world.
And where is this made?
There are machines in England and in France.
Wow.
And so they're made on the same machines in the exact same way with there's a French heel.
Incredible.
And they have this is another one of my obsessions that I discovered when I was like 18 when I bought my first corset, and I walked into a fetish store to buy a corset, had no idea. But someone, I was obsessed with having the holy grail of lingerie. Like,
sure.
I need a corset. That was the next thing for me when I turned, like, 18 or 19.
Oh, beautiful.
So someone gave me this address of a fetish shop. And I walk in, I'm like, whoa, where am I? And then I was introduced to the world of full fashion stockings, which is, a real fetish thing. So I was super into it. I used to order full fashion stockings from a magazine called Leg Show that was very popular in the 90s. And I used to be able to order by page vintage stockings. It was like a dream. You can't do that anymore. But you used to have to call this funny guy, and I think it was called K. Morel Hosiery. And he had all of these, which is where these came from. These are like a rare.
Those are incredible with that serrated detail.
Yeah. I used to have all these. I still have all of them, even if they have runs. And then the things with
Are the
cocktail
seams
glasses.
hand done or machine done?
They are. That's a good question. I haven't been. There's a lot that has to be hand finished.
This looks machine finished, but I mean, oh my gosh, what a beautiful seam.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Super gorgeous.
I think we should take a photograph for the for this episode to show the full fashion, because that's and
then I
beautiful
just for
detail.
Fun brought a stocking that is like, when people say, "Oh, I'm wearing seamed stockings," and they're like, they're actually wearing this, which is the modern version.
Oh.
And it's not the same at all.
No.
I mean, you have your stretch there.
Right.
But
there's no full fashion.
It's easier to wear, but it's got the no real keyhole. It's all anyway. So I always like to show people.
And
like,
what is the keyhole for?
I'm glad that these exist, but it's really big difference. Big difference. The keyhole is just there as a finishing thing, really, and it's in all full fashion stockings. I don't really know what the.
I always wondered what that was for. I would think that it would be to insert something through it.
Yeah, I mean, you're not really supposed to hook the stocking through the keyhole.
Right.
I don't really know. I'd have to ask my seamed stocking expert. He must be almost 100 by now, living in Paris, somebody that I met in the 90s that could talk about fully fashioned stockings and the history of them and everything about them for hours.
Wow, what a score.
I loved listening to him. But he's like an expert. So I wanted to share the stockings.
Well, your suitcase is just chock full of incredible treasures.
Thank you.
And I feel a certain need to go online and check out what you have, because they're beautiful
thank you.
pieces.
Thank you.
So
Yeah.
I just want to say that this is going to be a little bit longer episode because Dita has a lot to say and we have a lot to show. And Dita has picked some of the vintage pieces that we pre-selected for her to take a look at, and I'm going to let you take it away.
Okay, well, as soon as I spotted these, I don't know, do these have any labels? See, I want to say France.
They do. They're American. They're Lady Marlene.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love. I have a few like I'm sure you've seen them too from the 30s.
Mm-hmm.
Peach lace or peach satin bras that are like with the nipples cut out, because it didn't used to be taboo to show your nipples. That's a 90s and on thing, isn't it?
I did not know that,
Don't you
actually.
think? I mean, I remember. I was thinking about this a lot because all these like foam-filled cups kind of took over and reshaping the breast into this kind of like dome. I mean, I understand it can be hard existing in the world with your nipple outline showing and people. But I remember like growing up and I always saw my mom's nipples through her shirt.
Yeah,
It was just like in the 70s.
Yeah, no, that's kind of ridiculous.
Isn't it kind of like a newer thing where we had to cover the nipple? It used to be like...
I never really noticed it, but yes, thank you for pointing that out.
So I kind of put my foot down and stopped making padded bras and said, let's do like just lace bras. And I think a lot of people love it and I love it. But, occasionally someone's like, but I can't wear that to work. So I understand. But anyway, what I'm saying is about these kind of bras. I love the idea these bras existed in the 30s and 40s. I'm sure this is more of like a 50s or 60s
I think it's probably mid to late 50s, and it seems like a demi cup where the nipple the nipple literally rests at where the lace is sheer.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I love is the Fredericks of Hollywood catalog. And there's lots of bras like this, but they always show them wearing it with like a turtleneck. They're always an illustration, wearing it over a shirt, which I love. Sorry, I just can't
No,
resist.
it's perfect.
Yeah.
That gives a real good example of, and forgive me for pointing, but right here is the top. It kind of peaks.
Yeah.
And so your nipple is right where this would be.
This could be a pretty good fit for me, in fact, if I weren't wearing a dress with shoulder pads in it. But I love that, and I love these lines. This would be something I would definitely try to reference. I mean, listen, my brand is going to say, oh, I don't know if we can make bras without nipples, but what I would do is maybe, put some, illusion mesh or something there, so it kind of like...
appease them.
Yeah, sometimes people have a hard time, which I get, because... we want to buy lingerie we can wear in everyday life. We don't have to reconcile sexy versus everyday anymore. You can have fit, function, and beauty and glamour all in one. That's my aim for my lingerie company. This is really great.
For an partially over.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it's really beautiful. I love the details on this.
Yeah. Yeah, I love the fact that the boning is really only... in the cleavage part, down the center, and then it has that wonderful crisscross.
Yeah, I mean, this is you can tell this will be a really great shape on. Sorry, I can't resist. It's just like, it comes alive.
It does, absolutely. Right. And that actually fits you.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I mean, the straps are really close. Like, that's another thing we'd look at. Like, how do we make that so the straps are not so far in?
Right.
Like, on it, to modernize it. That's probably what we'd have to do for people to understand it. Or make this like a strapless bustier.
A strapless or, that's very interesting, because I didn't even think of that, how close the straps are, but you're absolutely right.
Yeah, I love the color. And the label says Cheers by Harriet Ross.
It's great.
Cheers. So this caught my eye right away. I love dressing gowns, and this pocket detail is just insane. I don't even know if you could do that for under this is something that I think would be so hard to do.
Kind of, sort of.
It'd be so expensive.
I don't know.
Think?
I mean, it's just piping basically that's been manipulated in little squiggles.
So beautiful. I love that
so
much. And I love, we see, one of the things I like about examining vintage loungewear for inspiration is everybody just puts a belt and some belt loops now for a kimono, but like how clever to just have it attached in the back.
Yeah, and actually it really creates a much
smarter.
better silhouette
Yeah, and then
because it's more fitted.
You don't lose your belt at the dry cleaner.
Yeah, I didn't think of that.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is really pretty.
This was next door. I bought it for inspiration because it's not in the best of condition,
Right.
but there's just too many details that are great. Like I love the simple trim around the neck, or texture, I
too.
should say. Yeah.
So now with a piece like this, are you one of those people that's brave enough to soak things and that
Oh
sort of
yeah,
thing?
yeah.
I'm
I just didn't get around to it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. So I love these Vanity Fair.
I thought you
right?
would.
I do. I mean, I love a full brief. But one of the things I love about this collection, which I have the nightgown that matches it, or isn't, and I love this print, and I've been, I think it'd be hard to make it not look cheap now, but this is one of my favorite Vanity Fair pieces. I love the way they layered the two, like the ivory and the black.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
Yeah, it's a nice design. I think I would prefer seeing this in tap pants personally.
Yeah, I mean, this is a big pair of underwear.
Yeah. For you.
I love wearing big underwear though.
Yeah.
Classic Merry Widow. And this one is, what era do you think this one is?
I am not sure. Let me look at the label. It's probably, I would say it's not that old. Prima Boutique, made in France.
60s?
Maybe 60s, yeah.
Yeah, nice. I mean, you can't go wrong with one of these. Ever.
Yeah.
Everyone should have one of these.
Yeah.
You can wear it with jeans.
Now, I'm going to start off by saying that one of my great sadnesses in this business is I'll buy a piece emotionally and then later on realize that it's not sturdy, that the fabric is shattering, or that, there are boo-boos that I can't fix because of the age. This is like 100 years old.
So beautiful. The color combination. I am obsessed with chartreuse. I just did a chartreuse lingerie set. But I love it with the pink, and these are like drawstrings at the top. We do not want to pull those, or one. I love the crotch.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like, excuse me,
Yes.
peekaboo.
Ready for anything.
Yeah.
Cute. Yeah, I love the little rosettes and the color combination of this. It's really lovely.
Yeah. It has not fared well with time, unfortunately.
I mean, I'm sure, as a vintage collector, I have lost a lot of things to time.
Right.
Like 1930s alligator shoes that turned to dust because I wore them swing dancing. I was like 20 something. I was like, it's great. I got these for $20. Yeah, things disintegrate. I just kill the moth in my closet.
Ugh.
It's an endless battle. Yeah.
This one was from Kansas City, which I find
so
really
pretty.
interesting. So
So
there were
pretty.
some sassy ladies in Kansas City.
Very nice, very nice. And this is another thing
I'll
that
take
I
that
fell in
one,
love
yeah,
with as soon as
thanks.
you waved it my direction. I love this.
I love it too. I think that has your name on it,
Yeah,
actually.
I think it does.
Yeah. It's not technically lingerie, but it's lingerie inspired.
Yeah, I love it. Zipper down the back.
Uh-huh. Snap crotch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like I can do like dance rehearsals in this or something. Or just wear it with fishnets around the house, or for a house
super
party
sexy.
or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we pulled something that was a little newer. That I know that it's not necessarily your passion, but black sheer lace I thought would kind of give you a pass,
it's
right?
It's a classic.
So it's a peignoir set, and it's by Fernando Sanchez, who made incredibly beautiful and sexy lingerie in the 70s, 80s, and I think early 90s.
In here in LA, or
I just know him as an
Okay.
American designer.
yeah. I love that with them. I always love the feathers.
So that's like a caftan.
Okay. It's kind of like a wrap almost, right?
Yeah, it's like a caftan robe, but without the seams. Almost anti-mame in a way.
Yeah, but I love how it's just open.
And then with this beautiful sheath underneath.
I love this. That's nice.
That could be outerwear. Totally. Both pieces.
Yes. Love that.
Yeah.
And this, one of the things I'm always looking for is a really great leopard print, because I feel like it can look, cheap. So I'm always looking for like leopard and cheetah pattern that is would look good. Bolder. I like bold. And I like the buttons instead of a typical tie.
So is that something you might consider reintroducing?
Yeah, definitely.
Being inspired by?
Right.
I wanted to include this pajama set, lounging set. It's from the 1920s, and it's very rare to find silk pajamas that have not lost their mate. This is clearly, you look at the cuffs, it's the same fabric, and it's in really good condition. And the other thing is, I love this piece because the flowers remind me of Raoul Dufy and Paul Poiret, a lot of the prints and things that were from that time period. So this is probably mid-1920s. Do you have pieces like that in your collection?
I tend to not go for much 20s because it's so fragile usually, but this is in incredible condition.
It's part of my private collection.
Yeah, this is like really beautiful condition.
Yeah.
I usually tend, and also for me, I find like it's not as good for me and my shape, like 20s style stuff.
Interesting.
I have a couple like 20s dresses, but I do love pajamas, but I look more for like the 30s and 40s era.
Totally makes sense.
But this is, mostly because I'm just always afraid of silk, because I've watched it fall apart in front of me. The shoulders start disintegrating first.
Yeah. Well, if you hang it for too long.
Yeah, I know. I need to put I like hanging things because I like looking at it, or I forget if I put it in a box.
Yeah. So those of you that are watching should know that if you have older silk pieces, it really is more kind for you to not have them hanging, because the weight of the garment, even though it doesn't feel like it's heavy, actually it stresses out the top part, and that's the first thing to go. So I wanted to draw attention to the two corsets on the mannequin, because they're really wonderful pieces.
Yeah, I love this one especially. That's like really vintage.
Yep, it's a turn of the century, and I love the fact that it's a baby pink, and the detail of the top stitching on it as well. We paired it with these 1930s.
I noticed that now. I can
and
see
it's
it.
kind of like
It's got like a fig leaf.
I was going to say Adam and Eve, right?
Yes.
Very Eve-like, but because we didn't want to have just the lower half of the body naked. Anyway, so it's hard for us to find corsets this old. The elastic on the shoulders were added by person later, so I don't know what the original straps were.
And what about that necklace?
The necklace is a wonderful piece by, it's not Miriam Haskell, but it's a protege of Haskell.
It's fabulous, because you could wear that down the back too. I was imagining wearing that turned around also, and wear nothing else but just that.
Ooh. Yeah, and then we'll go to this other corset, which is a full body line. Would it be correct to say bondage?
I would call it a fetish piece. It's a corset dress. There would have been no reason to have something like that back in the day. Not really. You're not going far in this.
Okay, well this is
you
like...
literally have to walk with your knees together like this. I have this in red at home. So yeah, you're strapped all the way in, unless you decide to open a little bit, but you straight up have to walk with your feet.
Interesting. See, this is out of my realm, so thank you. I just have to say I'm just so honored to have you as my friend and as the incredible person that you are with your knowledge of lingerie and all things past. It's an unusual episode for us, and one that I'm very happy, because the dialogue, I think, is really good, and you've been a great teacher.
Thank you. Well, I don't know everything, but you're my go-to for vintage shopping, vintage advice. And I have many more questions, like about cleaning vintage, taking care of it, lots of stuff like that. And we want to talk to you for my book, Fashioning the Femme Totale.
Oh,
I think Rose Apodaca.
I
so
do.
We definitely want to come visit with you one day and talk to you about just vintage in general.
I would love that. I would love that. So, hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I certainly did. I learned quite a bit, actually. And if you are not subscribing to our YouTube channel, please do so. And if you like this episode, please give us a thumbs up. And know that I do try to react and respond to all the comments. Sometimes I get a bit overwhelmed, so be patient with me. And we do have a website, and some of the lingerie pieces will be available on the website, but not all, because some came from my collection. But if any of the pieces interest you, definitely send us a message on the comments or call the store. And keep in mind that Dita's pieces are available on her website, and also who is actually selling most of the pieces that you...
Well, my own lingerie website now, which is DitaVonTeeseLingerie.com.
There you go. So that's it for now, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Okay? Bye.
Bye.